So why this topic? Because I went on TikTok and I started sharing videos about the struggle with finding a job, the obstacles that I was having to overcome and how challenging it was. And so many people related to me, understood where I was coming from. Some of them wanted to have debates like, is it AI? Is it just that you're in a very competitive area? I'm in marketing, it's overly saturated. I'm very much aware. But I have never struggled so hard, so much. So I thought, you know what, let me also put it back to YouTube, where I really want to share more content about my life here, and the job market is one of them. I also want to talk about mental health, which I feel like the two combine, because when you are searching for work, it can take a toll. Burnout is real. I was let go from my job in August last year. I enjoyed a period of fun employment where I did some traveling, spent time with family over Christmas, and just had a really nice time. January came, 2025, I was like, let me hit this job market. Let me start searching, applying, updating my CV, editing my cover letter, getting everything perfecto. And yeah, I had recruiters calling me, but I was really finding, firstly, the actual jobs were scarce. Now, I have said in my TikToks that the geographical location is where you live is going to obviously limit what you can apply for. And for me, it was like, right, I've got this radius of where I can apply, but there's really not many jobs. I was not prepared for how brutal this market is. And even before, when I had a job search about 2 years ago, I was looking for a new job. That was still a struggle. That took a lot of applications. I had to get that. Like I said, marketing is competitive. It's always going to be a bit tough. But the way that this market is completely different. It's very much relating to the economic climate, the cost of living crisis. Companies are outsourcing. The implementation of AI in companies is also making an impact. And on top of that, in marketing alone, marketing never has budget. You can be working for the biggest global brands. The marketing budget is always going to be tight. You always have to pull strings and adjust things with the marketing budget. Anyway, I started this year quite optimistic. New job, I thought 3 months max. 3 months max, I've got this, let's go. And I was obviously looking for jobs in my field, in marketing, where I'm qualified. I have years of experience there. I've also got my degree in business, so business and marketing is kind of where I'm at. Digital marketing is what I specialize in. That involves e-commerce, and honestly, the way the companies want to pay you the least amount for the most experience, it sucks, especially because it's an employer's market. They have the upper hand. I quickly found that this was going to be more of a struggle than I initially thought. Look, we hear the same things over and over. Use your network, post on LinkedIn, be open to work, apply to 30 jobs a day, 20 jobs a day, whatever it is, to put yourself out there. But I feel like, let's acknowledge that sometimes the market is just very tough. And right now, it's very tough. And this goes across other countries. It's not just the UK. It's a tough market in the UK, but I know this crosses overseas. There came a point where I stopped tracking my jobs. Tracking my job applications was really important to me because I wanted to be able to remember where I'd applied. I wanted to be able to remember the salary, the job description. So if the recruiter calls me up and says, hey, I'm from so-and-so, and I've applied to 50 jobs, the likelihood of me remembering is slim to none. So having it all written down was so useful. But honestly, once it was starting to get to about 200 applications, I was just like, there's no point in me tracking this anymore. I can't just continue to track it. Like, it's actually just depressing. I'm just going to apply. And I ended up working outside of marketing just to have an income, because marketing was just so hard. I was getting interviews where it wasn't moving forward. I had a lot of strange obstacles where interviews were suddenly stopped. Not mid-interview, as in I had an interview lined up and then they'll be like, oh, we found someone, so we're not going to move forward with you, even though we booked you in for a face-to-face meeting on Friday. Today's Wednesday, but we just offered someone the job. Strange etiquette from hiring managers, recruitments, and HR professionals. So much so that I was just like, yeah, no, that something's in the water here, like something's not going right. And when I lean on my spiritual and more philosophical side, I'm like, this is probably not my path, because I've never struggled this much. And I know deep within that I want to be self-employed. I want to make content. I want to be creatively free. I want to have autonomy over my career and all the prospects that comes with. And nothing has pushed me more into that than the state of unemployment I've been in this year. Creating content, going live on TikTok, putting myself out there, sharing about this experience, because it's been horrific. Being treated like just a number is not fun. It's not. And realizing that recruiters and hiring managers do often just see you as a number, because they've got to get through quite a lot of applications and candidates to get someone in the role. Because of the way I was let go from my previous job, I really realized that companies can be shady. And actually, some of these jobs are fake. Some of these jobs are not real. Some of these jobs are just data farming. Some of them are just to appear like the business is growing and doing well, or that they are actually searching for a role that someone else is filling in for right now. So you've got someone that's employed in a business and they're doing two people's jobs because the other person left and they've got their workload, but ultimately that saves the business money. They're getting 2 in 1. In the beginning, it was really tough because I was paying my rent, I had bills to pay. I literally was living like fully off my savings, trying to just get by and thinking, okay, the next month I'm gonna have a job, the next month I'm gonna have a job, I will get a job. But when I tell you, I couldn't sustain it. By the time my lease was up and my flat was done, I was like, there's no point in me spending more and more of my savings just to stay here. So I came back home to reduce the cost of bills and rent and to really hone in. And if anything, I'm going to put a positive spin on this because it has been horrific. But like I said, kind of realizing what is my path. Being rejected constantly, day in, day out, is going to take a toll on anybody. But on top of that, I was dealing with depression. I didn't know that in the beginning of the year. I was properly diagnosed and decided to go down the medication route in April. But up until that point, it was really, really, really tough. And beyond that point, actually, it can take a toll on your mental health. Now, I'm not saying the cause and effect for my depression was just being unemployed. However, the association with being unemployed and how much that can affect your mental health is there. I also went through a lot of changes, heartbreak, the job situation, job loss, moving home, changes of circumstances, people, things around me, and really hard to keep up with the changes that were happening in my life that were negatively impacting me. And whilst I can sit here and say, we make lemonade out of lemons over here, sometimes it is tough and sometimes it does get to you. And that is where all of that festered into a depression, that I'm not good enough, that I haven't got a job, that I'm this, that I'm that I'm not worthy. All of it kind of just crumbled. At the same time, I was in therapy, so a lot of it, you're kind of diving into it, and that can kind of bring up those deep emotions. But that's for another video. I'll do a video on fully mental health and depression and antidepressants and all that kind of stuff. But in this video, I want to focus on the fact that that was a tough time, and having a layer of the stress of having to find a job was making it even tougher. Please just know that if you are looking for a job right now and you are getting constant rejection and the unfortunately emails, you are not alone. Many people are actually struggling right now, especially young people. People that have just graduated university and they're trying to get jobs where they have no experience, but the experience required for that role is 2-3 years. Make it make sense, firstly, but also in this very, very tough market, I have to say, keep your chin up. Keep your chin up, because it's not you. I really will not let someone sit there and say you're not doing enough, you're not working hard enough to get a job, or you've not tried hard enough, or whatever. When I was able to get work, I was underemployed. I wasn't doing what I have the qualifications and credentials to be doing. That in itself is part of the problem. Not only this, but when it comes to the salaries that these jobs are offering, they want the most output for the least input of a decent salary. Or when they just say competitive salary, yeah, what does that mean? What does that mean? I realized from my TikToks that people are in the same boat, and we're sat here like, I'm applying and I'm trying, but I think half of these jobs are fake. How many people are actually getting to interviews? Why am I putting so much effort just to get a minimum wage job? So much to talk about, there really is. And I created a petition because I thought, do you know what would be my ideal recruitment process? Now, I can't say if this is gonna work, but all I can say is at least I know I tried. Blind recruitment. Take the names off the CV, take the dates off in the CV for the early stage, early application stage. Why? Because you don't need to know my name. You need to see my piece of paper, my CV with my credentials, my experience, everything that I have to offer for this role, without someone making preconceived judgment based on my name and how unique it might be, or what ethnicity that name may be tied to. Or you're seeing the dates of when I went to university, you're already filling in the gaps of my age. Not fair. It's not fair. Oh, she's 50. She's probably really expensive because she's got so much experience, or she's probably just going to be tired. We want someone young that can keep up with the energy of our team, blah blah blah. Or, oh, she's 30, she's probably going to get married soon and have kids, like she's not really worth investing. You never know what's going on, and you cannot completely just get rid of judgment and bias. It happens, especially unconscious bias. However, I created a petition. I will link it down below. It's an order for the UK legislation to come into place to take blind recruitment as law for the public sector, hoping that the private will then continue, because something's got to give. If nothing comes of it, at least I'm sharing the message that, listen, applying for jobs in the job market right now is really, really tough, and you are not alone. That's pretty much it in this video, because I have so much more that I want to dive into, especially regarding mental health and the impact that that has had on my life in just the previous year. YouTube has been a place where I've wanted to come on here and be myself, but because of my past and my past experience with heartbreaking things, I knew that those people still had access to this page, and I had fear around being seen. Now I literally don't care. They're so in the past, I don't care. I'm gonna create the content that means something to me and show up for real, who I am, how I am, share my struggles, and I'm always available to talk to you guys in the comments for any additional information, because it just feels so good to make a YouTube video for the first time in 6 months. So thank you for sticking by. If you're still here, I hope that you enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to subscribe, and if you're going through a tough time right now, feel free to leave a comment and share with everybody. Bye guys.